आदो श्रद्धा तथा साधुसा भजन क्रिया अनर्थ निवृत्ति आगे कुछ याद आ रहा है? So note this down. You should get a notebook and pen. माता दी खाली लाते हो note share करते हैं. Right. So start beginning with faith. Adav Shraddha, some initial faith. Right. With the initial faith, what happens is sadhu san. You want to associate with sadhus and hear from them. Then, when you associate with sadhu, what will they do? Bhajan kriya. Right. You get engaged in bhajan kriya. You chant the holy names of the Lord. You hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, like that. Then उससे क्या होगा? प्रैक्टिस करने से क्या होगा? कॉन्शियसनेस को क्या होगा? हाँ, अनर्थ निवृत्ति. Right? All the anarthas in the heart, they slowly and steadily. This is the fourth. Bhajan kriya. Then anartha nivritti. Fourth stage. Right? So anartha nivritti means all the misgivings in the heart, like lust, greed, anger, pride, envy. Right? All these, they slowly and steadily get washed. Right? Anartha nivritti then क्या होगा? Hare Krishna. Now firm faith is established. Nishtha. Right? Determination, determined with practice. Right? With conviction and firmness. Right? Nishtha. Hare Krishna. When you practice with determination and conviction, right? वो ऐसा faith है कि कोई हिला नहीं सकता. Right? Then develops ruchi. Till this point, the mind is an enemy. Before nishtha, the mind is an enemy. Right? निष्ठा हो गया, रुचि में जैसे स्टेप किया, mind is a friend. The mind wants to do devotional service because it's interested now. रुचि. Right? Then रुचि में और एडवांस किया, then asakti. Asakti means very strong attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna, to the service of Krishna. We have a devotee here, His Grace Nitai Prabhu, right? Nitai Prabhu is someone who's in charge of the prasadam department, right? So every morning, without fail, no matter what, he's there in Mangal Arati doing Sitaram's Arati. Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ka Arati karte rose. He had a brain stroke, right? Some time back, he had a brain stroke, and he was not able to get up only, right? किसी तरह से धीरे धीरे आफ्टर फ्यू डेज उनको थोड़ा बिठाया, थोड़ा सा ऐसा ताकि वो बैठ सके खाली, और खड़े रहना भी मुश्किल था. बट वो सो आई डोंट नीड, आई विल डू सीताराम आरती. कुछ भी हो जाए, कैसे भी, आई वांट टू डू सीताराम आरती, right? Somehow the other, in 2-3 days, then he went to the altar, he started doing again, and till now he's continuing. Right? So that is ruchi, asakti, like I cannot leave. Right? There was famous bhajan, I forgot, I just remember the translation and the meaning there. So this poet, this kavi, he's describing how I'm unable. He was a tailor. He's like, I'm unable to do my work because whenever I'm trying to pick a pin and put the thread across, right? And I remember Krishna, my eyes are over flooded with tears, and I'm unable to put that thread in the needle, so I'm unable to do my work. I like kind of saying sorry to his family members. I'm not able to do my work. So much attachment. Without Krishna, we cannot live for a moment. That is attachment. Right? हमारा attachment ऐसा लगेगा रे मैं तो attached to Krishna. ऐसा नहीं. That is severe attachment, without which he cannot survive. Right? So Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhusan, Bhajana Kriya, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, and then comes the highest stages, which is Bhav and Prem. Right? So these are 9 stages of devotional service. Bhav means you develop a particular mood to serve the Lord. Right? And वो अभी मैं ज़्यादा describe नहीं करूँगा वरना सब सोचने लग जाएंगे, imagine करने लग जाएंगे. But bhav is when you have some intense feelings for the Lord in a particular mode. and then prem, right? Love of God. And that also has actually several stages. There are 14 in total, sub stages mila karke, but फिलहाल 9 याद रखो. So these stages are also divided basis faith, how much faith you have, right? You progress basis in these stages also basis your faith. Okay, so let's get started. So 13th chapter, like we discussed, Arjuna had certain questions and Krishna answered them. Krishna described what is knowledge, how by gaining that knowledge one can get rid of, all these attachments and free himself from the cycle of birth and death, this entire material creation. So now Krishna will try to point out exactly, which he pointed out in 13.22 also. So let's see what was 13.22. Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karana guna sangosya sad asad joni janmasu. The living entity in the material nature follows the way of life enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil amongst various species. तो 13.22 में भगवान ने प्रकृति के तीन गुणों का थोड़ा सा he touched upon the subject. Now he is trying to describe that same subject elaborately in this chapter, right? And the chapter is titled The Three Modes of Material Nature. Okay. So let's read the first verse. Okay. Sorry, just one more point to add here. So 13th chapter, basically in this 13.22, it is described that how the conditioned soul is distinct from material nature, right? प्रकृति के बारे में बताया, क्षेत्र के बारे में बताया. क्षेत्र is part of material nature only, three modes of prakriti only, and how kshetragya, who's the soul, is different from the kshetra, right? There are two types of kshetragya, the soul and the super soul. How they're different from matter, right? And how, although they are different, still, and although the soul is actually a superior nature, still it is entrapped within the inferior nature, within matter, right? And it is influenced by three modes, which we will discuss right now, and because of which its existence in the material world is continuing. So ये chapter में भगवान वो तीन गुण क्या है, कैसे काम करते हैं, and how to get yourself unentangled out of the three modes will be discussed. Okay? So let's read the first one. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuyam Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Yagnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gata. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuyam Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yagnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Mito Gata. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yagnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Mito Gata. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam Yagnatva Munaya Sarve Param Siddhim Mito Gata. Anyone else? Anybody, Mataji's? Any Mataji's would like to try? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Paravakshami ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमम् यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिं हितो गतः। श्रीभगवानुवाच परं भूयं प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञानानां ज्ञानमुत्तमम् यज्ञात्वा मुनयः सर्वे परां सिद्धिं हितो गतः। Anyone else? Okay, translation, someone can read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the stages have attained the supreme perfection."
Okay. So Krishna uses the word bhuya, right, which is again. Right? You just read. Again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom. So why is he saying again? Because 13.22 he already referred to the three modes of material nature, right? So he is trying to again elaborate on the same knowledge. And how is this knowledge? Krishna is saying the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained supreme perfection. Why is he calling this as best of all knowledge? Already most confidential knowledge नौवे chapter में बता दिया. It has been declared Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, the king of all knowledge. So here again he is saying the best of all knowledge. Why is he saying best of all knowledge? तो या तो ये best है या वो best है. Interrelated. How? 9th chapter में क्या best king of all knowledge को क्या क्या knowledge था जो describe किया king of all knowledge? 9th chapter की बात. 9th chapter में 9th chapter is the most confidential knowledge. So what is there in the 9th chapter that was described as the most confidential? And how is this knowledge which we are about to discuss about the three modes of material nature superior to that knowledge or better than that knowledge? क्यों बेस्ट बोला जा रहा है इसको? भागवत गीता के 3 डिविजन्स क्या है? First 6, middle 6, last 6. Karma Yoga is first 6 chapters. Then middle 6 is Jnana. Bhakti Yoga. Last 6 is Jnana Yoga. What is superior? Bhakti is superior, right? So 9th chapter is the middle of the middle, right? 9.34 essentially is the absolute middle. Right? What is 9.34? Man bana bhav mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mameve asaiva yuktaiva atma namatparana. Satyam te is last 18th chapter. Huh. So what is the translation of that? Become my devotee, surrender to me, offer obeisances to me, worship to me, right? Become my devotee. So that's the essence of the essence. Consider the essence of the essence. Most confidential knowledge. Okay. वो 9th chapter में discuss किया हमने. अभी 14th chapter is talking about three modes of material nature. And Krishna is saying, again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge. So how is this best of all knowledge? He described 7th chapter confidential knowledge, 8th chapter more confidential knowledge, 9th chapter most confidential knowledge. Right? तो ऐसा क्या बोलते हैं प्रोग्रेशन था वहां पर, डिस्टिंक्शन था. 14th chapter best of all knowledge. क्यों? Yes. He's saying the best of all knowledge because it's the most relevant to us right now. All the highest knowledge, the most supreme knowledge is devotion. Right? Bhakti karna hi hai. Lekin what is keeping us, what are the anchors which are keeping us down, not allowing us to move ahead, not allowing us to progress, right? वो एंकर्स को कैसे काटना है, दैट्स एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. आपको कोई बता रहा है रेस जीतने के लिए आपको ये करना पड़ेगा, राइट? ये शॉर्टकट है, ये लेके भाग जाओ और जाओगे, रेस जीत जाओगे, राइट? बट आपके पूरे बॉडी पे ऐसा एंकर्स लगाया हुआ है, अटका हुआ है, यू आर टाइड अप. So how to get rid of that is the most essential at this point in time. Only then you'll be able to run, right? So therefore, this knowledge of three modes of material nature is very, very essential, very relevant to us right now. हम मोड ऑफ इग्नोरेंस, मोड ऑफ पैशन, मोड ऑफ गुडनेस, अभी क्या है तीनों हम डिस्कस करेंगे. बट जस्ट टू हेल्प यू अंडरस्टैंड, मोड ऑफ गुडनेस इज दैट स्प्रिंग बोर्ड फ्रॉम वेयर यू कैन, यू नो, really leap and jump into devotion, go beyond the three modes. जब तक वो गुडनेस में नहीं आ रहे हम, we are not really entering bhakti so much. You want to add something to? अब इधर हो तो थोड़ा सा रियलाइज हो गया, मतलब भी बोलते जाऊंगे. So Prabhuji was supposed to give the class today. I am basically stealing his opportunity. Okay. So let's look at the next one. Sorry, one last important thing. It's also best of knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained supreme perfection. So this is like a tried and tested means, right? All the previous sages, previous acharyas, they have used the same knowledge of the three modes to free themselves of the three modes. तब जाकर के they have been. अभी क्या हो रहा है? We are chanting, but we are struggling. मन इधर उधर जा रहा है, right? We are not able to even शांति से बैठ भी नहीं सकते, right? Immediately the work will kind of take over the mind. We'll start planning our day. We'll start planning something else. अरे ये रह गया, ये बिल भरना रह गया, right? Or this and that. So many things come, right? Because our mind is not in the mode of goodness. You cannot even sit in one place peacefully. So it's very, very difficult, becomes very difficult. So therefore, we need to understand this knowledge very nicely, apply it in our day-to-day life. And of course, in the end, we have a test also to understand where you are. We'll have a quick like personality test. क्या चल रहा है? Okay. Let's go to the next one. And this is where we actually use our intelligence also. Devotion is not a sentimental process. चलो अरे, I just have to have some feelings. It's a very, very practical, you know, kind of a movement where you understand these are the things that are holding me back. I need to do X, Y, Z things, fix up my schedule, do these things, eat like this, sleep for so many hours, etc. etc. Everything, you can actually practically do and see the results. Okay. And then Krishna is further glorifying this knowledge in the second shloka. Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharam yam agata sarge api nomapajaya jayante pralaye na vyathanti cha. Idam jnanam upashritya mama sadharam yam agata sargepi nopajayante pralayena vyathanti cha. So you can read the translation.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature by like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, but disturbed at the time of dissolution.
Yeah. So, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Krishna is glorifying. ये ज्ञान लेने के बाद, you can get. Krishna is right. He's not bound by the three modes of material nature. When he comes on this planet, right, to perform his pastimes, so he is not subject to the three modes of material nature. Right? He's completely free. It's like a king entering the jail just to see kaidi kaise hai, sab theek thaak hai arrangement, right? And what is the program going on for reforming them, and how many people have been reformed. किसी का सजा कम करना होगा तो कर देंगे, किसी का बढ़ाना होगा तो बढ़ा देंगे, right? So when Krishna comes, he is not bound by these three modes of material nature. Only foolish men consider कि अरे भगवान भी is subject to Maya. Maya is basically Durga Devi with Trishul. The 3 points of the Trishul are the 3 modes, right? Sattva, Raja, Tama. Sattva gun, Raja gun, Tama gun, right? So she has no control over Krishna. Rather, she is the maid servant of Krishna. So once we establish, once we are fixed up in this knowledge, Krishna is saying one can attain a transcendental nature like my own, which means that he can also be free from the 3 modes of material nature. And thus established, one is not born at the time of creation. If you if you can rid yourself of 3 modes of material nature, you are liberated, and you don't have to take birth again later, right? Or disturbed at the time of dissolution. While living also, you are Jivan Mukt. If, say for example, hypothetically, tomorrow you become free from 3 modes of material nature, right? So ऐसा नहीं है कि क्या बोलते हैं लिबरेशन हुआ नहीं, you are जीवन मुक्त. While living also you are liberated. So even when you have to give up the body, it won't be like so disturbing, like people get disturbed, they are so attached. And Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan, he states that we attain this knowledge. Baldev Vidya Bhushan is making a very, very important point in relation to the shloka. He's saying we attain this knowledge by worshipping the feet of our spiritual master. Right? This is not something कि भाई मैंने सुन लिया हो गया. I know now. अभी तो पता है मेरे को. I'm fixed in this knowledge. Fixed in the knowledge means one has to internalize, practice, right? Practice enough to become successful and get, elevate himself from mode of good, ignorance to passion to goodness, and then pure goodness, like that. And that will happen only and only by the mercy of spiritual master. Once we serve the spiritual master, because spiritual master knows what state you are stuck in. कहाँ पे अटके हैं? What exactly is needed to kind of remove that obstacle so that you can move ahead, so that you can grow from maybe a state of ignorance or passion up to pure goodness. It's only and only, and somebody who's serving spiritual master like regularly is in touch and constantly serving or meditating on service to spiritual master, progress is very, very rapid. It's like knowing that अगर हमको अभी पता है, for example, if Krishna is watching, will we be careful in doing things, right? अब पता है भारी खड़े भगवान या रूम में है, अंदर है, right? जहां हम बैठे बगल में सामने देख रहे हैं हमको खड़े खड़े, right? When we do our activities, we'll be careful, right? So actually that is the knowledge also we should discuss in the 13th chapter, understanding that Paramatma is there, right? Seeing, or at least realizing that there is Paramatma in my heart, there is Paramatma in the other person's heart. He's watching. How can I behave in a bad way? Right? So like that, if somebody is actually meditating, and it's easier to meditate, in a lot of cases, extremely easy for us to meditate that instead of Krishna, there is spiritual master there. Right? Because spiritual master is, you've interacted with him. भगवान से इतना शायद इंटरेक्शन ना किया हो, but spiritual master से तो one-on-one interaction किया है, right? So it's very easy to actually meditate on the spiritual master and understand that he is also there, right? He's watching. So and when one constantly meditates like that, serves the spiritual master, his consciousness is kind of overpowered by the fact that, oh, I have to serve my guru. One is actually in his original constitutional position of a servant of Krishna. Then it becomes very easy to transcend the 3 modes of intelligence. And the Guru will give you such orders, such instructions, things to do, which help you overcome your, bad habits, your lower natures.
You have been Krishna saying that he attains to my transcendental nature. So Prabhupada just clarifies in the purport that it doesn't mean that we become God or we become one with God, but just qualitatively we attain that same nature. Qualitatively, which means that we are also Sachidananda, but not the same as a Lord. That we should not be mistaken. Mayavadi philosophers, they say that अभी अगर हम liberate हो गए तीन modes से, if we liberate or get free from the influence of the three modes, we will become one with God. And or after liberation, what will happen is there will be only uh, merging into the supreme, no variety, no activity, but it is not true. What happens actually is when we go back to the spiritual world is also filled with variety. The spiritual world is also filled with activities. So we attain to that stage. So to understand that, okay, I am under the influence of three modes, and then to cut that means that actually we will again be engaged in variety and activity, but then it is in a pure state, not an impure state. यहाँ पे whatever activities we are performing is under the influence of three modes. यहाँ तो सत्वगुण हम लोगों को काम करा रहा है या रजोगुण या तमोगुण. We are under the influence and therefore we are acting. But there it's activity without influence of the three modes.
And why, in fact, if you read the purport of the previous shloka and connect it with this shloka also, so in the previous shloka, Prabhupada is actually inviting people to understand this 14th chapter also through the means of philosophical speculation, right? So speculation is rejected by Srila Prabhupada in so many places in Bhagavad Gita. How people have been speculating, writing their own commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, and how those are without potency, right? But mental speculation is condemned very heavily by Srila Prabhupada in the entire Bhagavad Gita. What is mental speculation? To derive our own meanings, suiting our own selves, our own comfort. कि अरे भगवान ने ये बोला है, ठीक है, मेरे को अभी सूट कर रहा है तो मैं उसको उसको लेकर के अपना ही कुछ मीनिंग देकर के ट्विस्ट करके लोगों को बता दूं, यहाँ अप्लाई करो अपने लाइफ. Exactly. That is mental speculation, right? That is mental speculation. So philosophical speculation क्या होता है? Arthavad is mental speculation.
Editing something from the philosophy point, like comparing other books and this book, like, and matching them, like this is the point and this is the same point in editing something.
So mental speculation is, so there is a thing that there's a word in Sanskrit, I think I said this earlier, Muni, right? Muni means you have to have a different opinion, a different perspective, without which cannot be called a Muni, right? So भले कोई भी सब्जेक्ट हो, आपका कुछ अलग ही एंगल होना चाहिए उसमें, तब आपको वो टाइटल दिया जाएगा मुनि, right? And so is the case for all the modern day scholars. You will be known a scholar only if you present something extremely different. अलग ही कुछ बता दोगे तो अरे हाँ scholar है तो, right? Some random very different perspective. आपने अगर सेम ही चीज रिपीट कर दे तो बोलेंगे क्या क्या स्कॉलर है, right? ये तो रिपीट कर रहा है इस चीज को, right? But if you have some different opinion, अरे क्या अलग perspective, ये तो सोचा ही नहीं था, right? So भले वो सही हो या ना हो, you have to have a different opinion, right? So that's the mundane scholarship that we generally are looking up to, and that is correct. Yeah. So, but that is people are they are mentally speculating कि इसका ये अर्थ होगा, उसका ये meaning होगा, and then giving some of their own theories which might get popular in some masses of public and like अरे वाह अच्छा theory, right? That's not the truth, right? So philosophical speculation, what is different than mental speculation? Philosophical speculation is, here Prabhupada translates it as hearing from the authorities. We are allowed philosophical speculation, not mental speculation. Philosophical speculation means understanding the concepts correctly from an authority and then उनका मनन करना कि how do I apply this in my life? In my situation, in my circumstance, how do I apply this? Or discussing with some devotee within the boundaries of what the scriptures say, what the authorities say, what one acharya has said, maybe something different other acharya has said. So within that boundary, discussing कि यार ये हो सकता है वो हो सकता है ऐसा, like that. So that is called as philosophical speculation. So Prabhupada is inviting everyone to actually understand this 14th chapter through the means of philosophical speculation of how do I actually apply this knowledge in my life. अब वो knowledge क्या है आगे देखते हैं. Okay, let's go. 13th. Sorry, third shloka. Mama yonir mahadbrahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham
तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहम्
संभवः सर्वभूतानां
सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां
ततो भवति भारत.
ततो भवति भारत.
Okay, translation, someone can read.
The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all the living beings, O son of Bharata.
So here Krishna begins to describe, his the relationship between material nature and himself, and also the conditioned living entities, right? So the total material substance called Brahman is a source of birth, and it is this Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the birth of all living beings, O son of Bharata. So अभी भगवान बता रहे कि how did we actually get stuck in the material nature? कहाँ से शुरू हुआ इसका? What is the origin of all this problem? Right. So he's describing primary creation. Right. So primary creation, how does primary creation takes place? So this matter, earth, water, fire, air, ether, in its unmanifested form, is like floating like a cloud in the spiritual sky. Right. It's also called as Pradhan, Mahatattva by different names, depending on the stage. And then when Lord Mahavishnu glances, through his glance, right, he impregnates that sky, the cloud, that's material nature, with three things. What are the three things? Anyone? We haven't discussed here about that. Three things with the glance of Mahavishnu is carried and the material nature is impregnated. Jiva, the soul, and Kala, time factor, and Karma. So every single day this happens, right? It's like Brahmaji going to office every single day. So by the end of the day of Brahma, the entire creation is wound up. The lotus closes, it goes back in the navel of Mahavishnu. Everybody is sleeping, right? For how long? 8.32 billion years. Sleeping. Right? So that's 12 hours of Brahma, and similarly the day. So daytime, the creation is happening, the world, the material world is running, and then yuga cycles are going on. End of day of Brahma, lotus closes 8.32 billion years, 64 billion years, sorry, 8.64 billion years. All the living entities are sleeping. It is described in Bhagavatam that the living entities, they are taking birth again and again. Again and again, they are just whipped by Maya through the three modes of material nature. They are actually poked by the trident of Maya through the agency of the three modes of material nature, and they are attempting to enjoy without any enjoyment. They're struggling very hard to enjoy more enjoyment. कुछ नहीं मिल रहा. They are frustrated in the end. They're tired. They're fatigued, exhausted. Right. So Lord Mahavishnu, taking mercy on them, gives them a rest. So yeah. 8.64 billion years. Right. And again, we start afresh in the next day of Brahma, where again Brahmaji starts with the creation. So before reaching this particular stage, the living entities are actually impregnated in the material world, the primary creation. जहाँ पर according to the previous day of Brahma, जो problems थे या जो इच्छाएं थी जीवात्मा की, उस इच्छाओं के हिसाब से, the creation, then they are given the particular bodies. Their karmas are, again from that point continuing like that. So jiva, karma, and kal, time factor. Right. Okay. यहाँ पे there's a nice example the purport Prabhupada gives. Just like a scorpion lays its egg in the pile of rice, sometime it is said that the scorpion is born out of the rice. The rice is not the cause of scorpion. ठीक है? बिच्छू ने अंडे दे दिए राइस में जाकर के, और suddenly, one fine day there is a scorpion coming out of the rice. We think, अरे rice has given birth to a scorpion. बिच्छू को जन्म दिया rice ने, but actually, is the rice cause of the scorpion? Right? So actually the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, the material nature is not the cause of birth of living entities. प्रकृति के कारण हमारा उत्पत्ति नहीं हुआ है. हमारा उत्पत्ति क्यों हुआ है? Because of our own desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. And basis our past karmas, we are given a particular body.
And Krishna is the one who impregnates us. Just like the scorpion there laid the eggs. So it's Krishna who is actually, so does the material nature. Automatically, people think nature is the cause of birth, and there is no creator behind it. It's not like that.
Which Krishna is confirming now in the next one. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. Very important shloka, right? Let's chant it once again. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahadionir Aham Bija Pradapita. So you can read the translation.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kuntī, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
So, very straightforward, like the translation says, that Krishna is actually the Aham Bija Pradapita. He's saying, I am the source of, or the seed-giving father of all living entities. So Krishna is identifying himself as the source of everything, of all the species of life, of all the living entities. And then he goes on to further describe how the souls then got entangled. So, these are actually Mahat Tattva is basically like a floating cloud, and uska ek stage hai where it's impregnate is called Pradhan. Or maybe it's reverse. I'll double check. I'll double check. Oh, nomenclature I think आगे पीछे हो सकता है, but it's a different stage of the same thing. But
It is just desire or even karma, both.
desire and deserve both. Correct. So, in fact, it's described that how these 84 lakh species also come about is, the Munis, they meditate on what is this person's desire and what are his activities. So, if the person has been extremely envious and desiring only wealth, and his activities have also been like that, right? Trying to steal money and, just hoard. So, the Munis in their meditation, they actually then create those type of bodies. Kiske kya body suitable? With their meditation, they are creating bodies like a snake or a scorpion, like that. So yeah, again, these are not ordinary personalities who meditate. They are, sages. Okay, next one. Satvam rajas tamas iti guna prakriti sambhava nibadhananti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Translation तुम can read.
Nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in the contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
So the living entity is transcendental. We were all there in the spiritual world, right? Spiritual world is such a place where anything you desire gets immediately fulfilled. And uh, the center, or what you can say, the main personality or Purusha, the enjoyer in the spiritual world is Krishna. Right? He is the center of everything. Everybody's thoughts, everybody's activities are all centered around Krishna. Now, in the spiritual world, we desire God is God. Why I am not God? Why Krishna has to enjoy everything? Why cannot not enjoy like Krishna separately? Right? So these are our two original sins because of which we fell down. Because in the spiritual world, all desires are instantly fulfilled. So Lord fulfilled our desire. Oh, you want to enjoy like God? Okay, go play God. Right? So we were giving this toy world to play God. So here, we want to enjoy, we want to play God, we want to be completely independent, but we are conditioned. Right? We are conditioned. We are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. In our own lives, ये थोड़ा heavy, lofty word लग रहा है. So in our own lives, there are so many things we are dependent on. Can someone name a few things we are dependent on?
Nature.
Nature, right? सांस लेने के लिए हवा चाहिए. काहे का independent, right?
Yeah.
Finance.
Finance, yes, we are dependent on a boss to pay the salary.
Relationship.
Relationships, yes. We are social animals, right? Cannot live in isolation. We are dependent on others. For our own happiness, we are dependent on others. Anything else? Transport. Right? So the so-called idea, oh, I am free now to do anything. I am independent, is actually a very
Minor.
mythical idea. It's a myth. Actually, we are so much dependent on so many things. So these three modes of material nature, basically goodness, passion, and ignorance. When a living entity comes into material nature, thinking that now I will enjoy independently from God, he is immediately bound by the three modes of material nature, right? And not that he is independent, right? So, and how we get conditioned? What are these three modes? I think we can discuss here. Next one will be okay. So the first thing actually, in spiritual world, we are servants of God. Our constitutional position is we are servants of God. When we come to the material nature, thinking that, oh, I have to enjoy separately from Krishna, that's not possible without giving up the idea that I'm servant of God. Right? So the real ego that I'm servant of God gets covered as soon as it comes in contact with the material nature, gets covered with a false identity. That, oh, I am so and so, right? I have so many relatives, or this is my father, this is my mother, this is my child, right? So all these several identities we assume as soon as we are born, and because of which we continue our material existence. So let's read the next one. It will describe in detail what are, the characteristics of the three modes of material nature. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakasham anamayam sukha sangena vadnati Nana Sangena Achanaga. Translation, someone quickly read.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in the mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
So, characteristics of people in mode of goodness and what is the result, right? Mode of goodness being purer than the others is illuminating. It's like, full of light. It is free. It frees one from all sinful reactions. So basically, it's a state where you are aware. Light means you can see what is there. You can avoid those obstacles. You can save yourself from falling into a pit, right? Because there is light. And so therefore you avoid sinful activities and you can free yourself from sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode conditioned by sense of happiness and knowledge. So what are the characteristics of mode of goodness? Happiness, attributes which you can identify this person in mode of goodness, which is happiness and knowledge, right? They'll be intelligent, right? They'll be organized, they'll be clean, right? People in mode of goodness are can think on a particular subject nicely, deeply, and then analyze and assess what to be done, what is to be done, and take the right course of action. You won't find them sitting somewhere depressed, right? Crying out tears, etc. They'll be very, very sorted in life and characterized by happiness. They're in general happy. They'll have a nice schedule early in the morning. They'll do some exercise. They'll go for yoga, breathing, right? So they can talk on different subjects with some command. Ye pata hai, wo pata hai, like that. So these are some of the characteristics of mode of goodness, and Prabhuji will elaborate more on mode of goodness.
So, like here it said that two things we should know about people in mode of goodness: knowledge and other is happiness. So other modes we will see, passion, ignorance, next two verses mein aayega. But important thing to notice that it is also a mode of material nature, which means it also binds us. तो ये तीन गुण जो है, it is described like वो होता है ना कठपुतली, क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में?
Puppets.
So they are like controlling us. So these three modes are controlling us and controlling our actions. So sometimes we are in the mode of goodness. We'll see that in the coming verses. Sometimes we are in goodness, sometimes in passion, sometimes in ignorance. And so जब हम goodness में भी रहते हैं, we are actually bound to material nature.
How?
Very interesting.
Because we have knowledge, we feel, oh, I have knowledge.
Right.
So that pride comes in. Okay, so that ego comes in. That happiness is because we know things, and we can therefore, because we know things around, we can actually be successful, and that brings happiness. So we are becoming happy because we know how to work things around. We are not like a drunkard alcoholic who doesn't know, what is to be done. So he is miserable. We are not even passionate, running very fast behind about, material things, and therefore we are frustrated. It's not like that. That is a passionate person who gets frustrated because he's running so much after material prosperity, wealth, this, that. So he becomes frustrated. But a knowledgeable person is who he knows things as it is. क्या हो रहा है दुनिया में भाग के इधर उधर, there is no point. He knows, he understands things, and therefore he is happy.
That's
That
good.
is very, very good.
It's called goodness.
But the problem is, it is also binding. Because if I feel I'm happy, तो क्या होगा उससे? What is the problem in feeling that I'm happy?
Pride आएगा.
नहीं, happy knowledge से pride आ सकता है. I'll be satisfied in the material world. I'll feel that अच्छा है ये संसार, कुछ खराब नहीं है. मैं तो समझ गया ये world कैसे काम करता है.
इधर ही आना है.
वापस आना है.
वापस इधर ही घर बसाएंगे.
हाँ.
These people, they are frustrated because they don't know. I have figured it
I
out.
figured it out.
अच्छा, that.
So that is also therefore binding. Like Prabhuji said in the beginning, it is like a springboard. So goodness is very important to come to because at least we can see things in the right perspective. उसके बिना तो हम देख ही नहीं पा रहे. So we have to come to goodness, and that is like a springboard to get free from the three modes. So like in the previous verse, Prabhuji was describing that living entity, he comes in the material nature, and there he is actually getting entangled, right? He is entangled by the three modes of material nature. As soon as he comes, usko pakad lete hain, three modes. And he may feel that he is independent and free, but he is not free. But what is that one thing that Prabhuji said that brought us here? And then one thing that Prabhuji said that we have to forget so that we can live here. Very nice. Yes, very nice. So Prabhuji said that we are servants of God. We are made to forget this. And that ego comes that I can be happy. And I'm not a servant, I am the master. So now, if you apply this same principle in the opposite sense, if I have to get free, then what should I have in me? If I want to become free from the three modes of material nature, what should I develop? Serving. How will that serving attitude come in me? What is the quality that I need? Humility. Very, very important. See, knowing that I am servant is theoretical, right? But जब तक हम ये सोचेंगे ना कि नहीं, I have figured out the world or I have a solution to different problems, we will not be able to surrender. When will we be able to surrender? When I am humble and I realize this is all beyond me. This is all beyond my control. I cannot fix this. तो भगवान इसलिए हम लोग को अलग-अलग तरह से miseries देते रहते हैं, right? Mahadev is the threshold, the goodness, passion, ignorance. We get so much suffering in so many different ways. At some point, we should, hands up, surrender. Now I cannot, figure this out, oh Lord. I've tried chanting also attentively, it's not working. I've tried so many different things. I made a plan to study Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, it's not working. I've tried, so many different things to be happy in the middle, it's not working. When we actually come to that realization that things are not working the way I planned, and then, oh Lord, I surrender to you. When that humility comes, that is when we'll actually become free from the modes of material nature. So, the knowledge is important, but then eventually we have to be realizing that nothing is in my control. So, knowledge hai or happiness hai, we cannot be satisfied at that level. If we are stuck there, then we'll remain stuck there only. We'll remain stuck in the material world. To cross beyond that, then we will have to realize that I'm part and parcel of the Lord, I'm the servant of the Lord, and nothing is in my control. I have to surrender to the Lord. Oh Lord, whatever you think and whatever you wish for me to do, please let me be engaged in that way. So constantly, again we'll forget after some time this. Again we'll have to get reminded for this.
So also, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan describes for this particular verse that the two sins of mode of goodness are the same thing, are attachments to happiness and knowledge. Happiness and knowledge by itself are the characteristic of mode of goodness. They're good, right? But the problem is attachment to this knowledge and happiness, right? I am too attached to this knowledge, which then breeds into pride or develops pride, and that is a symptom of mode of passion. So that's where somebody in mode of goodness starts degrading into mode of passion, right? Over attachment to or attachment to the knowledge that I have. Right? Not open to actually higher or spiritual transcendental knowledge. So that basically degrades him from mode of goodness to passion. Okay, let's read the next one. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi Trishna sanga samudbhavam Tannibadnanti kaunteya Karma sangena dehinam. Translation, anyone can read?
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. O son of Kuntī, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive action. Introduction.
Mode of passion is born of unlimited desires, right? And longing. So, right. Trishna, the word Trishna is used, which is hankering. There's always hankering and lamenting also. Hankering for things they don't have, lamenting for the things they could have had, right? Or they lost, like that. So that's also characteristic of mode of passion. So, previous shloka you must have heard, we use the word nirmala. Nirmala means pure, right? Here the word is raga, which means colored. So the person mode of passion, he is not able to see things as it is. Like we discussed in the mode of goodness, it's a state of light. You know what is where. Mode of passion is like you wore red color goggles. तो अभी क्या देखेगा सब? Red दिखने वाला है. So they see everything tainted, right? They'll have, and because of which they have some over attachment, too many unlimited desires. अरे ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए. Something which is, क्या बोलते हैं? Maybe a basic necessity or something which is not needed, right? A person mode of goodness will be able to discriminate कि इसकी जरूरत नहीं, ये necessary है.
Desire तो उनको क्यों करना?
हाँ, desire होगा, but they can see, they can identify with their intelligence that this is not needed right now. This is overindulgence. This is essential. We should have this. So they'll be able to spend money correctly, right? They'll be able to have things which are really necessary. Person of mode of passion, red color glass. Arey, this is a must have. Something which is completely useless. It's a must have. Right? ये इसके बगैर तो जिंदगी चलेगा नहीं. And let me work like a donkey to get this. Mode of passion. So everything is tainted with that red color, essentially. So there is a lot of hankering for unnecessary things. And the ultimate goal is I want to enjoy it as much as possible because this will give me enjoyment or this will give me enjoyment, like that. I want to enjoy more. Hmm. And passion then tends to uh, degrade into ignorance, right? Because there are so many unlimited desires, which of course not all will be fulfilled, right? Which will lead to anger and frustration, which will degrade the person mode of passion into ignorance. So, some more examples of mode of passion.
One of my friend is
We have an exercise in the end. In some time where you'll know where you are. It's not one of your friend only.
passion.
अरे हाँ हाँ वो मेरा फ्रेंड है. वही है, उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं भगवद गीता. Yes,
So, actually, Prabhupada, purport gives a lot of examples. Prabhupada in purport gives a lot of examples of what is passion. So first he talks about the attraction between man and woman. So man is generally attracted to woman and woman is attracted to man. This itself is the symptom of mode of passion. So a person in the mode of goodness or pure goodness, he will not feel so much agitation or attraction for the opposite sex. But as soon as we feel that attraction, we should know that there is the mode of passion acting on me. So if we are in that stage, let's say we have an attraction towards the opposite sex, and then we are meditating on it, and then leading to the stage of action, trying to converse, going ahead, in that relationship and so on. Okay. Then that will further entangle us and we will have to suffer because of that. But on the other hand, if we recognize that these are my thoughts, this is what is happening in my mind, I'm feeling attraction where I should not be. Okay, this is different from like your spouse. Okay, your spouse is there, you may have a relationship with your spouse. But then, of course, we'll not get into details of that. But then, apart from that, also, so if I realize that I think mera attraction or unnecessarily, towards another living entity, I should know that I'm in the mode of passion and I have to come out of it. It should be like a red alarm signal that should go in our head कि कुछ तो गड़बड़ हुआ तभी वो मोड ऑफ पैशन में कौन फ्रेंड है मैं हूँ हम लोग को देखना पड़ेगा we will have to see because it's not that there is only one living entity who is fully in passion because we go through these stages sometimes you are in goodness sometimes you are in passion sometimes you are in ignorance कभी ऐसा अट्रैक्शन नहीं लगेगा कभी अचानक से लगना चालू होगा right तो फिर we should know that this is mode of passion influencing me right now so then we have to gradually come up and then other things that Prabhupada said was of honor right and then this desire to be happy in society by having my wife my children my family nice house nice car all of these are also mode of passion so if I'm desiring honor कि मुझे लोग रिस्पेक्ट करे कि देखो सब लोग बोले कि देखो मेरा बहुत अच्छा सिचुएशन है मटेरियल लाइफ में to desire this is also mode of passion so that means there are so many subtle things which are there which we don't realize only to let go of the fact that we want to get free from these modes of material nature we don't realize only that we are in this mode right now it is so subtle so only when we read that is why in the beginning इतना कुछ बोला ना कि ये knowledge पाने के बाद हम निकल पाएंगे प्रभु जी के very nice example of anchor these are the anchors that are pulling me down only if I realize this then I'll be able to know okay ये नहीं होना चाहिए but if I don't know only then how will I get free so these are very subtle things that act upon me and then because the whole chapter is begun later also 3 modes के बारे में आता है what are different things that actually affect us which bring passion within us it will be the environment it will be the people around us so we have to cultivate such habits such an atmosphere an environment where we are always at least in the mode of goodness right so that is very much to be cultivated otherwise these modes there is no respite आपको लगेगा ठीक है अभी मुझे ये डिजायर आ रहा है एंजॉय करने का कर लेते हैं what will happen eventually
Passion, you will be addicted.
you will be addicted
Entangled.
entangled so क्या होगा
Happiness.
और सेल्फ ग्रेटिफिकेशन का इच्छा होगा और ग्रीड होगा फिर उससे क्या होगा
कोई ना कोई ऐसा
ignorance में जाएंगे
कोई ना कोई आपका वो फुलफिल नहीं होगा तो
फ्रस्ट्रेशन होगा क्योंकि फुलफिल नहीं होगा फॉल बैक राइट रिग्रेट होगा वेरी नाइस यू विल रिग्रेट एक्चुअली कि अरे फंस गया फिर से 10,000 टाइम वापस से फंस गया सेम ट्रैप so you will be regretful so all of these things at the beginning ये सब पता नहीं चलता है सब अट्रैक्टिव लगता है मन करता है हाँ ठीक है एंजॉय कर ले but then later we will only have to suffer so therefore mode of goodness में जो है वो देख पाता है सब कुछ लेकिन जो mode of passion में है वो फंस जाता है फिर रिग्रेट करता है pride तो होता है but it is better than passion we don't have to get attached to knowledge and
Happiness.
be happy like that
You should not be, but they are proud, no? You should not be proud, that is, but those people are proud.
yes unless everyone is going transcending the 3 modes pure goodness में जब तक पहुंचते नहीं है वो भी एक conditioning है mode of goodness में वो तो है it is a conditioning but we need to reach there at least हम लोग का goal वो होना चाहिए क्यों क्योंकि from there only we can transcend उसी से हम लोग बाहर जा सकते हैं जब तक वहां नहीं पहुंचेंगे अभी जो पैशनेट है उसको आप बोलो यहाँ पे आके बैठो
So I'll give you a very simple example. So there was this friend of mine in our office, right? Sometime back, a few companies ago. So this person, he would every morning he would come with a nice tiffin set करके पूरा, or he would like proudly announce कि I ran 2 hours and I went home and I prepared my own salad. ये देखो मैं लेके आया. Right? So people who are not exposed to Krishna consciousness, for example, they are probably doing in some places the right thing. He is working out, he is preparing his own salad, वो खुद ही अपना बना करके खुद खाता है पूरा अच्छा. He is nice diet, he is following etc etc. But he is proud also. Now somebody who is exposed to Krishna consciousness understands that yes, I have to maintain my health, I have to organize my day, I have to live in mode of goodness, right? But Most important is humility. Most important, because of which I'll be able to chant, right? So when we are exposed to this knowledge, they don't have anything further. Only all in all हो गया कि भाई goodness में रहना है, right? And ऐसे ही रहना है. This is life, right? This is how what the top 100 CEOs in the world are doing. I'm also doing. 5 a.m. I have to get up. 5 a.m. club join करना है मुझे, right? They don't know anything beyond that. For a devotee, we are fortunate. We know there is a long way to go, right? And we can progress further also. So, in the mode of passion, I forgot I was about to say something and I forgot, but okay. Anyways, so the idea is in the mode of passion, we are struggling very very hard, and because of which we are frustrated and we are kind of dragged down into mode of ignorance, which we'll read now. Sloka number 8. तमस्व अज्ञान जमा विधि मोहनम सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभीस् तन्निबध्नन्ति भारत. Translation, someone can read.
O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, the delusion of all the embodied living entities, the result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, combine the conditions so.
I now remember what I was supposed to say. But take it. So, O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, both born of ignorance, is delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. So, mode of goodness is like poison in the beginning. बहुत कड़ा लगता है सुबह उठना, right? And I want to eat so much, but I have to eat so much, right? Or क्या बोलते हैं? I have to give charity, for example. So it's not very easy, right? It feels like poison in the beginning, or I have to follow a regime. I have to do XYZ physical activity. नहीं करना फिर भी करना है, right? So it's very very difficult in the beginning, but the result is nectar in the end. So poison in the beginning, nectar in the end. Mode of passion is the reverse. Nectar in the beginning. अरे वाह, बढ़िया एकदम, right? चटपटा खाना, too much तीखा. That experience, right, is amazing. But then poison in the end. The result is you will have stomach issues or something, or too much indulgence into something, you will be again bedridden, right, sick. Or people have that, यार चलो skydiving करके आते हैं, कुछ और करके आते हैं, right? And next day something or the other is like really paining. Some people have even क्या बोलते हैं, fracture हो गया, slip disc हो गया, ऐसे सब भी cases होते हैं. In just that few moments of thrill, right? There are so many people doing so many kind of stunts which are life threatening also, right? Just to have that thrill, they probably sometimes fall very badly or hurt themselves very badly. Sometimes lifetime they are disabled in such episodes as well. So that's mode of passion. Nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. Right? And now we come to mode of ignorance. Right? It's poison in the beginning, poison in the end. Right? And how it is described as the result of this mode are madness. Why is it called madness? पागलपन है ये. क्यों?
जान के भी आप कर रहे हो.
नहीं, ignorance ना.
हाँ.
You don't know only your way, even if you're wasting your human life. पता होता है तो भी not, पता होता है तो भी नहीं करते लोग.
जानिया शुनिया wish kind of. Knowingly I'm eating poison. So it is described that how to do the activities in the mode of ignorance, right? Just being, so what are the characteristics? Lazy, sleeping too much, intoxication, for example, right? Or meat eating, all of those things. So it costs money, right? To even have a liquor bottle, it cost you money. You'll have to work like crazy to earn that money first. Then when you're drinking kadwa, it's not so nice, right? So experience not that great कि चलो मैं कुछ बहुत अच्छा काजू पिस्ता बादाम खा रहा हूँ, ऐसा नहीं है. right? So that experience itself is also not so great. And then the result is your health is suffering, and in general, you're also not accepted in the society. So from the beginning till the end, it is only suffering, right? So only a mad person can do this, right? Smoking, right? Costs money, right? Ruins your health, and people around you go away from you. They are also running away. So this is more ignorance. And I mean, if you look into our own lives also, a lot of times, right? And some of the things which are part of mode of ignorance is also being lost. पता ही नहीं क्या करना है. Completely, वो बोलते हैं spaced out, spaced out, or not knowing what exactly is to be done. Just wasting time. Just passing your days without any क्या बोलते हैं, intention. And what else, right? So, or being depressed, right? फालतू में कुछ मालूम नहीं है, खाली रो रहे जा करके, right? So all these are actually symptoms and characteristics of mode of ignorance. So if you identify any of these things in yourself, just let's work towards getting out of it and not taking initiative also. Yeah, ये कर लेंगे. Right? कर लेगा, दूसरा कर लेगा. So the animal which you can compare to this is jackal. Right? वो कभी कुछ शिकार नहीं करेगा. जो शेर ने छोड़ दिया है, जाके खाएगा. Right? Lion can be compared to a personality in mode of passion. They'll go do the hard work, try to do things themselves, etc. They'll be frustrated also. Half of the time, the lion starves a lot of time because they're not able to, get a kill. But then they'll still do the hard work, run miles and miles to catch a prey. And jackal will come and वो end में आके थोड़ा जो भी उसको बचा वो खा लेगा, चला जाएगा. So they don't do the hard work. And mode of goodness you can compare to an animal like a cow. Although such a huge animal, right? Very strong, but at the same time very mild, very nice natured, right? You can go and pet him and कुछ नहीं करेगा, right? There was a cow. I think we went in one of the Srinath ji farm में हम गए थे, तो हमको खड़ी थी, एक बुल खड़ा था, उसके नीचे से पास करवाया था.
I was there 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So people mode of goodness can actually reflect and understand what's going on and then course correct. Mode of ignorance, see, mode of passion is characterized by action, a lot of action, mindless action also sometimes, but a lot of action, right? Mode of ignorance is characterized by no action, कुछ नहीं करता. And mode of goodness sometimes also may look like not jumping into action because that's mindful, calculated actions only. So sometimes ऐसा लगेगा immediately ये करना है, तो mode of goodness वाला भी थोड़ा रुक जाएगा, analyze करेगा क्या है. That's not ignorance. The difference between goodness and ignorance is that there is inaction sometimes out of knowledge and understanding. In ignorance, there is inaction out of ignorance. Right? कोई होता है ना, झगड़ा हो रहा है कि ठीक है ये बीच में नहीं पढ़ा. They may be out of knowledge कि हाँ पढ़ के फायदा नहीं है, right? And मेरे को सुनाएंगे लोग. So out of knowledge, they might not get into it. There may be some other fight that you're supposed to get into and stop, but the person in ignorance, right? They're lazy. क्या कौन करेगा? Right? Although they can intervene and stop and help, they won't help out of laziness.
Greed and anger is also ignorance.
Like Brahmaji, greed and anger is so greed is passion, anger kind of tends to fall into ignorance.
We just read na the previous was longings. बहुत सारा desire होना. That is great.
So Brahmaji, in the episode of Daksha and Sati, right? I think मैंने 2-3 classes पहले बताया था. So Daksha was abusing. He was actually doing Vaishnava Aparadh. He insulted Lord Shiva. He insulted Brahma also. Brahma, being in a superior position, through knowledge understood that I don't need to jump right now because this fellow is not going to listen. Later on, जब पूरा episode हो गया, Daksha got killed. He was again revived, etc. उसकी revival के लिए Brahma ji goes and requests Lord Shiva and then instructs also Daksha go, and then Daksha does a lot of austerities. So Brahmaji knew where exactly to intervene. He did not intervene in the first place, not out of ignorance कि चलो कुछ करना ही नहीं क्या मैं I am not involved. Out of ignorance he did not intervene, ऐसा नहीं है. Out of knowledge he understood this fellow is not going to listen, no matter what good instruction I give him. So ठीक है छोड़ दो उसको. बोलूंगा तो ज्यादा ही बोलेगा, इसलिए छोड़ दो. A lot of times, just to bring it down to very practical day-to-day household things. Sometimes ladies especially, they think, "Arey, ye mere ko problem hai, I'm telling, and this fellow is not doing anything." I'm saying about the husbands, right? I have this problem, but he's not helping. So a lot of time what happens is the husband knows the situation, larger situation probably, and he knows कि अभी not the right time to talk, not the right time to, correct someone immediately on the face, but maybe at a later time we'll do it in a different approach so that it works out well for both parties. Like that. So it's out of knowledge and not out of ignorance, right? A very, very practical day-to-day example. Yeah. Okay, so
That quiz, Prabhuji.
yes, it's already 2:20, and we were waiting to describe the three modes. So we'll stop here and we'll get to the exercise. Yes. So the further shlokas describe how it's not that somebody is born in passion and hamesha ke liye passion mein rahega. Somebody is born in goodness, hamesha ke liye goodness mein rahega. These three modes are all present within us. They're influencing us, and there is a competition between the three modes to gain superiority. So sometimes goodness will be predominant, sometimes passion will be predominant, and it's a mix of modes. आप एक कार्य goodness mixed with ignorance में भी कर सकते हो, right? Passion mixed with ignorance, right? Or passion mixed with goodness, like that. So it's a mix of, just like one color. Say for example, yellow, blue, and red. These are primary colors. You mix yellow and red, you'll have orange. So your activity could be orange also, like that. Or you mix red and blue, you'll have purple. Okay, so there are 20 questions. No, you just have to say true and false. And in fact, if you can, एक paper and pen सबको दे सकते हैं अगर paper दे सकते हैं, pen अपना ले लो या अपने phone में note कर लो, phone में note कर लो, better. हाँ. So I'll read out questions to you. I'll read out questions to you. You just have to say true or false. अगर 1 2 3 नंबर कर देना और T या F लिख देना जो मैं क्वेश्चन रीड आउट करूंगा उसके लिए. So मैं 20 क्वेश्चंस रीड करूंगा, ठीक है? हर एक क्वेश्चन आप अपने लाइफ के हिसाब से सोच के बोलो कि ये ट्रू है या फॉल्स है मेरे लिए, ठीक है? तो 1 T 2 F ऐसा करके हमको 20 क्वेश्चंस के जवाब देने. फिर एंड में हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे कि कितने ट्रू है कितने फॉल्स, ठीक है?
तो अपने लाइफ के हिसाब से ट्रू और फॉल्स लिखना है.
करेक्ट.
और आप क्लियर हो ना? फिर मैं आपको एक्सरसाइज भेज दूँ.
तो सबके फोन चालू हो गए?
Yes. Can I note down on book?
You can note on the book. So here comes question 1. I don't read spiritual books on a daily basis. True or false? Next one.
Yes.
I usually end each day with a huge list of things left to do. I feel uncomfortable and uneasy when I have time off and no pressing responsibilities. ऐसा लगता है कि अरे क्या करने का, जब फ्री टाइम है मेरे पास तो. I regularly have a huge backlog of emails or people to contact or messages to answer. 5th one. I feel like all my energy is taken up by work and career, leaving little energy for anything else. And for housewives, it could be your household work, right? All energy taken up by work leaving little energy for anything else. Sixth one, I feel my spiritual practices are mechanical.
You have to just simplify it.
Mechanical मतलब मैं without any emotion, without any intent, मैंने माला उठा लिया हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण.
हाँ, करने के लिए.
Right, ध्यान हर जगह है, but mechanically chant कर रहा हूँ, right?
ये तो सब
या
practice है.
बैठा हूँ क्लास में लेकिन कहीं और दिमाग है. Right? So physically being present, mentally being absent. हो गया sixth. Seventh, I consciously avoid spending time with others because I have too many things to do. I rarely reflect or introspect, scrutinize my life direction. बहुत rarely I think of my own life's direction कि सही जगह पे जा रहा है नहीं जा रहा है. Do I reflect कि how was my day, how was my week, क्या मैंने जो मेरे को अचीव करना था वो कर रहा हूँ या नहीं कर रहा हूँ, should I change something or not, like that. Okay, ninth one, I rarely do charity work or activities which are for benefit of people I don't know. Tenth one, I find it hard to sleep. I don't get enough sleep. एक तो सोने में दिक्कत है, आसानी से सो नहीं पाते और फिर बहुत कम नींद मिलती है. I have lost a friendship over anger or failing to respect other person. मैंने सम्मान नहीं दिया ठीक से, गुस्से के कारण I have lost a relationship. I rarely think about spirituality or question things around me from a spiritual point of view. कुछ भी देख करके मैं आध्यात्मिक दृष्टिकोण से सवाल पूछता हूँ या नहीं. 13th one, 12th one, yeah. 13th one, when friends ring me, I rarely have time to have a friendly chat with them. जल्दी जल्दी बोलो यार, खत्म करो. Right. Rarely have time to have a nice friendly chat with them. I feel like I complain and find faults more than being grateful and positive. I feel like I complain and find faults. मतलब मैं या तो पूरा टाइम कंप्लेन ही कर रहा हूँ, दोष ही देख रहा हूँ, more than being grateful. I'm not so grateful कि अरे thank you for doing this, or good, this person is so nice. I'm grateful that oh he's in my life, she's in my life, the child is there, etc., etc. Grateful for things and positive. Okay, next one, 15th one. I have health issues which are related to stress, anxiety, or irregular habits. Next one. I have not taken a holiday in a year. 17th one. My partner or children sometimes complain that I don't have enough quality time for them. Stress on the word quality. 18th one. I don't have time to spend on self-development, exploring things I'm interested in. Shall I say the next one?
Yes.
If an emergency comes up in my life, I find it very difficult to adjust. And last, most of my interactions with people are just about getting things done. Okay. Now, count up how many statements were true for you. How many statements are true for you? Only two.
Yeah. Two.
Only two statements are true.
Yes. गाड़ी बराबर है.
3.
Huh? Or three. How four statements are true? 6. 8. 8. 11.
गाड़ी बंजर.
हाँ.
6.
नहीं ठीक है, it's okay. So okay, so first of all I would say go back and do a better honest assessment again. That's one. And second, if it's true, if it's less than 7, great going. Okay, you are probably more in mode of goodness, right? 8 to 14, right? So you need some adjustment in life for sure, right? And 15 to 20 is danger, urgent. You need to change.
false है हम लोग का we have not done properly नहीं इसलिए आपने बताओ किया है
ऐसा किया ही नहीं है।
हाँ
So
मुझे क्या बोल रहे हैं तो है ना तो आपने चीट किया है आपने की ऑनेस्ट फीडबैक्स उनके साथ
दो
हाँ दो सब सही चल रहा है तो दो ही रहेगा ना I mean दो भी बहुत
जब सब सही नहीं चल रहा है, are you able to adjust? That was the last question.
the adjustment is on the life.
If it's too fantastic, keep it up. Yes.
So then probably like 6 years back if you had asked me, everything would have been true. But after I did Swadhyaya, the Yoga Institute,
Correct.
it changed my thought process, the way, I mean, slowly. Yeah, all this changes helps. You know, very gradually the changes come about,
I think
not only with this.
also-
But
I think also the kind of I think also the kind of questions were more pertaining to working professionals.
Yeah.
I just got a feeling because of which.
Ah,
I agree. But a lot of the questions were like working professional तो फंसने वाले हो।
भेजो।
ऐसा है. It is like that kind.
नहीं, सबको रात को नींद अच्छे से आता है. हाँ. No, उसमें false नहीं निकला, उसमें true लिखना है. The question is, कहाँ गया? I find it hard to sleep and do not get enough sleep.
ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि ट्रू का फॉल्स किया है लोगों
हाँ.
because was it 9 question was it for the ninth?
Correct. नहीं, 9th नहीं, this was the 10th one.
10th that is false subject
तो नहीं, true लिख रहा था. True. हाँ. True and false में थोड़ा confusion है शायद लोगों को.
false subject
True.
ठीक है.
मतलब लोग
wrong होगा ना मैंने
सब लोग टीचर्स होंगे. Okay.